It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
It's Sunday morning, time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes on your weekly automotive experience. I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to America's automotive radio show, keeping you connected to the automotive world. Locally created, nationally celebrated. We had some good news this week. Finally good news. They rated the show, and we came out number one in our demo. And out of all the 33 radio stations in Portland, Oregon, we were number 3. That goes up against every music station. So a talk station, number 3 for this show.
And number 1 in our demo. And our demo's not 75 and over, is it?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. I was going to make a Brad joke there somewhere, but I wasn't sharp enough off the mark there for that one. What's on this morning's show? New and exciting cars that we've been test driving this week. Russ Oasis will be joining us to talk about his career. He's a pretty amazing individual. He's a Viper racer, he's a broadcaster, and he's getting into the Ford GT scene. We're going to talk a little bit about our Project Discovery. This is a project vehicle we did 2 years ago, and we've decided to do some updates to it. And then we're going to delve into deep and get the real answers to what's going on with the Chrysler Motor Company. We have the director of the Chrysler brand is going to join us. We're going to talk about our long-term test drive, which is the 300, but we're also going to find out the future of Chrysler. And this is something that the automotive world and everybody's been asking. Where is Chrysler going? What are they doing? We're going to find out what products they're working on, what the ideas of the company are, and the direction of Chrysler in the future. And Ryan Senatal is going to be here from Afterglow to talk about something that he's been using on cars to make them look all pretty and shiny. Well, I had the opportunity this week to drive the Volvo XC60. This is Volvo's compact sport utility vehicle. This was a winner at the Northwest Automotive Press Association Mudfest event. It won the category of large luxury vehicles. It has a very, very good off-road stance. This vehicle can handle pretty much any kind of road conditions. Comes in a lot of different segments as far as engines are concerned. 4-cylinder, 5-cylinder, 6-cylinder. And, you know, interesting enough about Volvo is they used to be part of the Ford Motor Company, and they used to share engines with Ford. Well, that contract expired. So now Volvo are having to make all their own engines, and they're only making 4-cylinders, which means that even their big SUVs and their big sedans will be powered by 4-cylinders. The way they get around that, they're adding a supercharger, they're adding a turbo, both supercharger and turbo to the same vehicle, and they're adding hybrids as well, which gives them that little extra power.
That's just amazing that they're doing a supercharger and a turbocharger at once.
Yeah, a few people have done it in the past, but it's hard to master.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I've always grown up, and it's like you get the best of both worlds, the high-end torque and the low-end torque to get off the line. But
absolutely, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they do that with some of their bigger vehicle. 8-speed automatic transmission. You can do the front wheel or the all-wheel drive. 31 miles a gallon on the highway. And that's pretty respectable number.
Very impressive.
Which I'm pleased about. What does it go up against? It goes up against all those big luxury SUVs, everything from BMW, Audi, and Mercedes-Benz as well. 16 trim levels. Clearly, I'm not going to be listing them all off here.
Are they trying to be like Porsche and the 911?
Well, I think, every car company is now doing so many trim levels, and it's really about customization. I know a lot of car companies that started off with this idea, like Scion was definitely one that did this early on in the beginning. Let's give you the base car and let you deck the car out how you want. So we'll give you, and they did the math, it was like millions of different combinations of trim levels. But now these companies are really realizing that that's what millennials want. That's what people want, is they want
even old people. We just did our car shopping last week, and it came down. We started with the base and kind of built in what we wanted.
We've teased Brad for 3 years about being old, and he's finally
and we bought a minivan.
And you did? Oh, you got your minivan already?
Today.
Are you happy?
Yeah, very. It doesn't matter if I'm happy.
Oh, it only matters if your wife's happy.
Correct.
All right. See, this is a man that obviously good for the female population of the world. The starting price is $36,600 for this Volvo XC60. You can go all the way up to $51,300 base price for that's without adding on all of your trims and all of your extras. All right. So when I came across, people, when I come across people who are interesting in the world of automotive, I want to get hold of them and talk to them. And when I come across this car maven, I was very impressed by him. He's been a radio guy, has 45 years experience in the business. He races Dodge Vipers. It's an absolute must to have him on America's Car Radio Show. His name is Russ Oasis. Russ, welcome to America's Car Radio Show. Let me ask you, first of all, when did your love of cars begin?
Well, Nick, I think I was about 4 years old, but before I tell you more about that, I just want to congratulate you as a broadcaster for your ratings, because that is a phenomenal feat.
Yeah, it is. And when I took over this show about 3 years ago, I thought, well, I will be extremely lucky to survive a year. It looks like 3 years in, and we're ruling the roost, as it were.
Without getting into inside baseball, the rating system so punishes talk shows these days, and that's just incredible that you're number 3 overall. Just incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. And I like the fact that all those people listening to music radio prefer listening to us instead, which makes
me too. Me too, Nick.
There you go. All right, so let's talk a bit about racing. So you started at the age of 4.
Yeah, I mean, I was into cars at 4 years old, and when I would turn 12, I remember really clearly my brother saying to me, my brother was quite a bit older, and he had an MGA coupe, a 1959 MGA coupe.
Nice.
And he said, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I said, "I want to drive your car." And he let me. That was my birthday present. My 12th birthday present was driving his MGA coupe.
Excellent. And did it come back in one piece?
Yes,
okay.
It did. As a matter of course, it was in a large parking lot, so there wasn't much to hit, but it did come back in one piece. And then to put a cherry on the sundae, I used to sneak my father's '57 Chevy out when I was 13 years old.
Oh, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
So I've been into cars since I was really, really a young kid.
Now you got into broadcasting as well. Now I have to ask you, was the broadcasting something that you did, buying radio stations and being a broadcaster? Was that to feed the habit of cars?
You know, what truly happened was I was in broadcasting because I loved it so much. I got into college radio in '68. And I loved it. I mean, it was all I thought about. It was all I did. And when I graduated, I went on the air. I got a fairly significant job. I did afternoon drive in Miami. My parents said to me, "You're going to be a disc jockey?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "We sent you to college and you're going to be a disc jockey?"
Everybody in this room, Russ, is looking at us going, "We've had the same conversation with our parents."
Yes, it's a common experience for those of us in radio. And so I did that, and what then happened was I needed to jump off into something more stable and more able to make the money I needed for cars. I had an XKE at the time that I loved, a Series 3 XKE.
Nice.
And I needed more money. And so I opened an ad agency with another guy, and we did very, very well. And we specialized in Tier 2 and 3 automotive advertising. And we became a national force, believe it or not. It really went very, very well. So well that I met some car dealers along the way, and we became business partners in radio stations. And I sold my half of the ad agency and then got sold to Omnicom, which is a public company that aggregates advertising agencies worldwide. And so I was off and running in radio again, and from there I went back into cars. I started buying Vipers, and when Dodge came out with a competition coupe in 2003, I got one and figured, well, I've done a little track work, and I had gone to Bondurant and Sonoma. I figured, let me give this a try. And I was hooked, and I still am hooked, and I'm looking for the antidote.
Now, here's something interesting. that I would throw in here. I'm actually going to Bondurant on Tuesday in Phoenix to test drive some cars. They have just signed with Viper and with Dodge. So Bondurant, now the official car of Bondurant in Phoenix is now the Viper.
You're going to love the ACR Extreme.
Oh,
it's
can't
an unbelievable car. It really is. The downforce, the aero they put on that car is phenomenal, and it truly sticks like nothing else. I mean, I think there's, if my memory serves me right, there's 1,200 pounds of downforce at 150 miles an hour. I mean, imagine that. You know, you just get into the corner and you can feel the car gripping harder and harder.
If I'm not back next week because I've had a little too much fun, can you fill in for me?
Well, I'd love to.
I think he'd rather fill in for you at Bondurant.
Yeah, I bet. Listen, what does your garage look like now, Russ? You know, what sort of cars do you have lined up in that garage?
I have a collection of Vipers, including a couple of competition coupes, an ACRX, and then I have one of each of the generations of Viper, including a GT2 car, which is a rare car. There were only 100 of them made. There's probably 90 of them existing.
When I come to Florida, can I come stay with you, please?
Absolutely. I mean, I'd love to have you. We'll take the cars out. We'll enjoy them.
And then you're starting to sort of drift into the Ford GT area too, aren't you?
I have a GT, and I've had one since 2005. I find it to be an exquisite car. I haven't raced it because I was not able to afford the possibility that if it crashed, I'd be able to get plenty of parts from the factory and get factory support on getting it back together, just because there wasn't a racing program for the GT for the club racer and the semi-pro like there was for the Viper. But I do have a GT. It's my coveted possession. It's a 2005, and I'm planning on taking advantage of the application process that Ford has put in place, and it's really insightful of them to do that, to make sure that the cars get into the hands of those who really appreciate them and deserve them, rather than the professional middlemen who just drive the price up and sell them for their own profit.
I mean, that sounds exciting, and if there's anything we could do to help you get that GT, you know, if we can call one of the Ford family, let us know. I'd love to.
I would love that. Anything you can do to help would be greatly appreciated, Nick.
Absolutely. Russ, in the last few seconds before we hit the break here, tell us how we can find out more about what you do.
Well, you can go to my Facebook page. It's Russ Oasis, Facebook/Russ Oasis. I'm on Twitter at Russ Oasis. And you can go to the NASA webpage, or you can go to the NARA webpage, the National Auto Racing Association, NARRA, and I'm there.
We can see all your stuff.
I've raced in SCCA World Challenge Pro. You know, I've had a great time racing in a few short years.
Russ, I promise you, I'm coming to Florida, and we're gonna go driving together. I'm gonna make the special trip.
Anytime. I've got a lot of room here for you.
Russ Oasis, proud to have you on the show. Thank you for your kind words, and we'll look forward to talking to you again when you get that GT. I know it's going to happen. You're listening to Test Miles. Coming up, we're going to talk to the boys from Hard Notch Customs about the new bumpers we put on our Project Discovery.